Petra. Let's keep working on Petra. You guys know the basic idea, right? There's this bell curve that contains these very erratic lands that are placed inside of each of these little pockets right here and here. And those erratic lands grow. They can't grow beyond the boundary of this bell curve here. Because it doesn't really have to be a bell curve, does it? Except that at the front and at the back, we want the outlet, which is represented, this canyon. This is the canyon of Petra. We want the outlet to be equidistant from both players. And we want, well, actually, this would be the inlet, huh? Because the players are going to come in here and follow this windy canyon through until they get to the monument in the center. So I decided after some consideration that I'm actually going to make these the same type of terrain, and I'm going to elevate them using elevation generation. I'm not going to elevate them using lands and bases, because I want this to be at elevation 0 down here, and I don't want to incidentally mess with that somehow. So you've seen it, you've seen the setup, you've seen the erratic lands, and so now I'm going to go in and start changing everything to make it look a little bit more realistic here. So we're going to change this from snow, and we're going to call this CT, or canter, for canyon terrain. Could be dirt, could be not dirt, who knows. And we're going to need to specify that for the canyon boundaries as well. See, these are the fill here. This is the number of tiles for the canyon boundaries. And it looks like we ended up setting that equal to 0. And we've got some base size that we set it equal to. So let's set these boundaries equal to 0. And let's make sure that this is the same as this. There we go. And this is, what did I end up setting that? Canyon boundary, base size, can BS. Oh yeah, it's right here. Well, we can get rid of that then. We're going to specify it here, which I think we should. And that was 2. So we'll put a 2 there. And we will come over here and we'll say that this one is equal to whatever we did the first time. And now we got the fill terrains equal to canter. And actually, again, a lot of this stuff is the same, so we'll copy this over and we'll paste this here. We could equate the entire structure, honestly. That might be the way to go at this point. Look at all these different parameters that we have in here that we're specifying. So maybe we equate the entire structure and we just change what we want. Yeah. Let's try that. So we got can 2 fill is equal to can 1 fill, and we'll just get rid of the rest of this, except afterward we are going to say that we want its zone to be zone 2 instead. And that saves us some lines of code here. All of this stuff up here is just the mathematics for how to place that bell curve and everything, so don't worry too much about that. I know you guys don't really care about those sorts of details. You just like to see the map unfold in its very unique way. Alright, and we're going to do the same down here for the boundaries, except again, we're only really saving one thing. So we have canyon boundary, canyon 2 boundary is equal to canyon 1 boundary, and wham. So we're just specifying those 3 parameters. The base size is 2, the number of tiles is 0, the zone is 1 except for canyon boundary 2, which we're changing it to zone 2 here. And we need to define canter, but we'll do that later. Sometimes I put these little flourishes in between that don't really do anything. They just take up space and distract me. Alright. So I think that's just about as simple as we can make it. short of condensing stuff on one line, which I don't want to do right now because I think that the structures are a little bit more complicated. They are doing some work outside, so pardon the background sawing and all that noise. Alright, so it says it's done, and we should hit generate, and this should all just be grass because we haven't specified the terrain. But unfortunately it is not. So we will have to take a look and see what exactly happened there. Let's double check. It's processing 42 lands. Maybe it outright failed. Let's see. Canyon fill and the terrain type. And we're setting Canyon 2 fill is equal to Canyon 1 fill. So therefore Canyon 2 fill, the terrain type is going to be Canter. And then the boundary, I guess the boundary lands we didn't specify. I suppose we should. Can to bound.tt is equal to canyon terrain, just like that. That should be better. So it's 42 lands. It's really not that many. And let's see how we do. Is this any better? No, it is not. Yikes. Must have gotten rid of something important. So this is still here. Let's go and define Canter. Although I don't think that this will solve the problem, we have to do this anyway. So let's define Canter in this Petra file and see if that solves the problem. Alright, defining terrains. And we're going to come over here. We're going to say constant Canter. And we're just going to set that equal to dirt for now. And so when we hit enter, this should all appear as dirt now instead of grass because it's defined. Interestingly, the boundary is still grass, which is not right. Yeah, see, it looks like it's not processing Canter for most of this stuff, and it's actually not even writing a second crazy land. It's only got, looks like, one crazy land that it's doing. So we have somehow deleted something that was super important accidentally, and that's okay because we can fix it. So we have can 1 fill and we have can 2 fill, and we have canyon 1 boundary, terrain type is Canter, and then that should help with that. So let's run that. And then when Canyon 2 boundary is set equal to Canyon 1 boundary, oh, I guess we should specify that it has a different set of X's and Y's, huh? I guess that would be kind of important. So maybe we... Yeah, so what we're doing is we're overwriting the X's and Y's. So we'll cut this out and we'll put this down here after everything is all equated and such. Okay, let's try that. Structure has no member Y. where? Canyon Y range. Petra at line 32. Can 1 boundary Y. Well, it should be defined here. So why not? I guess we could just define all of this stuff first. We got 4 different types of land in here. Alright, we'll define this stuff first. We'll define the basics and then we'll overwrite it later. Section on canyon. $84, that looks a lot better. It looks like it's generating more points. Okay, so this looks the way that it should. It's got that random canyon in the middle with the 2 bell curves. Very good. So we are going to let our base terrain, let's pull up our reference, our AOE2 terrains reference document. We want our base terrain to be the gravel, not gravel, sorry, quicksand. It's number 46. So base terrain, set that equal to 46. So now, when we generate, they will not be able to build within this canyon. They won't be able to build anywhere else, but that is a solvable problem. We can deal with that later. We might actually consider making this this canyon terrain actually DLC rock. When we come over here to building and we try to build like a bombard tower here, you can't. You can't build the bombard tower here. So let's also do the DLC rock here. It's not gonna look natural, but we ultimately want the canyon terrain to be unbuildable. And we'll do some processing afterward to change it around. It's also a little bit easier to see, I guess. Alright, so now let us elevate everything that is canyon terrain. We will elevate that to elevation 4. So I think we want to do that anyway. So we're going to create elevation 4. And, oh man, I deleted everything, didn't I? Kind of have to start over. Elevation, generation, blah, blah, blah. Alright, base terrain is going to be canter. Canter, there we go. For the canyon terrain. And we are going to say number of tiles, 9320. Number of clumps, 9320. Set scale by groups. Actually, I think we just need to have number of tiles and equal to some large number here. And we're going to enable balanced elevation. So now we should have all of this elevated here. And the big problem is that okay. So a couple things. It will not be able to, from the looks of it, it will not be able to elevate all the way up to the edge. But that's a solvable problem. We can simply tell these lands to avoid each other by a little bit less. We want to narrow the canyon down a bit, which I think will be fun. But then the other main thing is that, you know, this obviously does not reach its full elevation here, its full potential. So we can't really go too much further with that for now. What we're going to have to do is we're going to have to start building the rest of this map. This is good right here. We can make some more adjustments, but we now we need to build this big, this sort of big clearing here in the middle. And that's where we're going to put our monument, our Petra monument with the Ethiopian architecture. And we'll probably put some relics or something in there. I don't know. So let's do that. So we got this all figured out. This is fine. Now we're going to do a section on the clearing. On the opening, maybe? I don't want to call it a clearing. All right. And let's see. We need to be kind of careful here. I mean, I guess we just start, you know, we could call it opening, maybe. I don't think that's another function, so I think that should work just fine. And opening.x is going to be 50, right? And open.y is going to be 50 as well. And these are going to be and at the very least, we need to make sure that it doesn't take up the entire map. So open.nt is going to equal 0. And, well, maybe not 0, but we'll start with 0. And then open.nt, or sorry, bs, base size, is going to equal 3. So we'll just see if we can just get this land down. It's going to be grass. We don't care about that for now. The important thing is let's just get a land down. And then we'll modify it however we need. So we'll have to land scribe it up. So let's do that. So we got lm. This is quite the stuff here. Open. And then we're just going to have open as a variable here, a structure. And we're going to import open there as well, and that'll just be one more land, so it'll go up to 85. And this is coordinate stuff. I don't think it's going to matter too much, so we'll just stick it right here. Okay, so we'll hit run, and we'll see this land in the center appear, unless we have an error. Okay, yes, this has to be lm_open because we needed to put a matrix there, land matrix for lm for land matrix, and not a structure. So it's got 85 to run. It does. It generates it all, and now we should have a 3x3 square directly in the middle of the map here. Excellent. Now we could tell this square to kind of grow, and we could see what it does and how it does with the growth. So we can change its terrain to other stuff later. Could go open.terrain type is equal to open ter. Opening terrain. And let's start giving it a number of tiles. Let's give it like, maybe we boost the base size just by one more, and then we give it 64 tiles and see what it does. See how it does with that. Oh, right, we want to suppress the output there. And let's come up in here, and we will go constant open center, and that is so that equal to, I don't know, 6 for dirt. Doesn't really matter for now. We're just getting it the shape that we want it. Interesting. So it looks like it kind of wants to grow into even the center a little bit, in toward this canyon slightly. Well, you know that we cannot really allow that. Some of these are okay. So let's do a couple of things. Let's narrow this canyon down. See if we can decrease the overall width of this canyon, given that we're not elevating the edges perfectly. And don't worry about like this stuff over here, or like this back here, because we're going to put another land in that's DLC rock that's just going to fill up this entire space. So when we elevate, we'll have this canyon left over, and then we'll have this opening also left over, because it's not the same terrain type. So don't worry too much about that. But for now, let's see if we can keep this from growing in this way by narrowing the canyon a bit. Messing with the dimensions of the canyon slightly. So let us come over here, maybe to other zone avoidance. And we'll change that to 3. We'll hit run. Just excuse. Alright, I'm back. Sorry about that. I sometimes forget I'm not an adult. Okay. Yes, so we've narrowed the canyon a bit more, and it looks like that does improve it. We can narrow the canyon a bit even beyond that. But we do have to be careful about this. So maybe we'll keep this seed. And we can give the boundary a bigger other zone avoidance distance. Canyon fill. Oh, this is the zone. Other zone avoidance. Actually, I don't know that we have... Yeah, none of these boundary terrains have an other zone avoidance terrain. So maybe we make sure that we give that to them. Or maybe it's not needed. I don't know. Let's decrease this to 2. And we'll run it again. See how much we can push the limits here. Keep this and we'll generate this. Yeah, look at that. The narrow canyon. Okay. And maybe it's a little wider in some places. That's fine. That's natural geography for you. Okay. We're gonna grow this a little bit more, I think. We want that to be a little bit bigger. That is down here. Maybe we make its base size equal to 5. And then we generate again. And it's going to look a little bit different on a larger map size. Which reminds me, we're going to have to put in scaling types a little bit later. Yeah, look at that. That looks pretty darn good, in my opinion. And of course, since we have the bell curve, we make sure that the canyon opens up in this location here. You know, the canyon is almost so... it's almost so narrow that through the elevation effects we can't quite contour it properly. Like, we can't quite get everything to stick the way that it's supposed to stick. But still, I'm very pleased with that. Yeah, that looks pretty good. We might grow it just a little bit more. Just a little bit more. Maybe base size of 6. Now, I believe I'm using behavior version 1. If I'm not, that's a problem. I'm not. Alright, let's make sure that we put behavior version 1 in here, because that's going to totally change our stuff. Let me make sure that this is done running. Okay, it is. Behavior... oops, there's no pound sign in front of it. Just behavior version 1. And now we need to add more tiles. And this will be good in the long run. The reason we need to add more tiles is because with behavior version 1, it includes the area of whatever's under the base size. So we'll need to add some more tiles here for this. We could even potentially consider about doubling it. Get approximately that circular shape cooking. Okay. Nope, still not enough. Could theoretically calculate it what it's supposed to be, but it'll be fine. Also, we should repeat this elevation command, maybe? I'm not sure why it's not at least targeting this with a little bit. It seems like it should. Although, you do want to be careful with repeating elevation commands. Maybe we make it elevation 3 instead. Even though the canyon will not look as tall in that case. Maybe it'll find everything a little bit better. No, not quite. Oh well. We still have ways of dealing with that. Alright, yes. So 120 is not enough. Let's make it 180. This opening with its number of tiles. Okay, then you can see that it's starting to grow a little bit. That's good. Don't think we'll need too much more now. Maybe 220. Okay. Yeah, that looks about right. Do some different seeds on it. I think I'm going to bump it up to 240, just for good measure. But we're not going to run a specific gen just for that. We're not going to recalculate it just for that. So we need to add a couple of more entrances to this area. Perhaps one that's over here and one that is over here. And our monument is going to be located in this. Oh, let me see if I can actually just show it. Other Gaia, maybe, and then monument. Who am I kidding? It's under buildings. So that would be located approximately right there. And then I'd like to have another passageway leading out over here, and another passageway leading out over here, sort of in this direction. If you follow the direction that these houses are pointed in, like this and this, to lead out. The question is, how do I get it? I guess I don't really, have to. I could, through objects, I could arrange blocking of this central area except for here and here. Oh, there's one more thing that I need to do, though. And that is, on a large map size, I need to make sure that this still works. Yeah. So this should be scaling properly. So let's go and address that first, because that's sort of easy. And yeah, look at this. It's not even. I think we are going to decrease this separation a bit between these two. We can afford it. See, in this one, it looks fine. And if we really needed to, we could do the conditional depending on the map size, but I don't think that we have to do that. So because we've narrowed the canyon down, let us decrease the separation as well. Maybe we decrease it from 10 to 6. And then the big thing is we need to come in here and somewhere, I guess maybe right here. Doesn't really matter, actually. Maybe, yes, this is the best spot. So canyon1 underscore fill, and then it's going to be dot size scaling, I believe. And that is going to be argument 2. I think, let me check. Alright. Size scaling matrix with the following behavior options. 0 is no scaling. Lands are always the same size regardless of the map size. That's our default configuration. No, we want to scale with the number of tiles. The growth of the land beyond its base will increase proportional to the map area. Okay. So that's the one that we want. We want number 2. Let's come over here. Let's go back up. And yes, that's what we have. We have 2 there. And we should have the same size scaling for the... No, we should actually have different size scaling for the boundaries. So this is these are the fills. These are the boundaries here. So we have after terrain type, number of tiles. Actually, we should put the terrain type first, just for the sake of consistency and convention. We should put the terrain type first. Terrain type, number of tiles, base size, and then size scaling. Canyon 1 underscore bound dot s size scaling. And this one we actually want to scale 1. because these are boundaries. We don't want, they already have land size 0, so we can't scale that up. There's no multiplication factor. We can multiply by 0 to make it bigger as the map increases in size. But we can scale up the base size to make sure that it catches everything. The squares that the land originates from get larger as the land grows, or as the map size grows. So that should do it. So let us come on back up here to large size. We'll hit generate. Actually, giant size would be the better test. I mean, it doesn't work for large either. I'm not gonna lie. All right. Yeah, and we got all kinds of snaky land here. As you can see, there are gaps. So if we don't scale these up, then our snaky land is going to go in between them, and it will not be controlled. And we want it to be controlled. So therefore, we're going to scale that. So now let us hit run, and we should confirm that the land grows properly. So now if we go over and we look at the script, we should have conditionals in here for each of these little guys, and basically saying use this base size, and it still says number of tiles equal to 0, and I think, oh, look at this, it does put in a land percent of 6, so it changed it over to land percent because we wanted to scale. It tries to do it in as efficient way as possible. You know, instead of having a conditional saying, if tiny map, do this number of tiles, if small map, do this number, because land percent kind of incorporates that all in one. Alright, so let's see if this works a little bit better now. Aha! Those guys scare me. So, as you guys can see, it looks like we've still got some snaky lands that have penetrated through. It's not enough. It's not enough to be elevated, but it's still going to be a problem. And the canyon is longer and windier on larger map sizes, which is kind of fun. Players will be playing tug of war for longer, I guess. We have not scaled up the land in the center. We probably could and should do that, but we also may not want to, but we probably should. So I guess we just don't have a base size that is large enough to accommodate this. So we come over here and we set the base size equal to 3. Oh, yikes. That seems pretty oppressive. It seems like on tiny map sizes that's going to be too much, but it would be really nice if this all worked out. So we'll run that and we'll let that update happen. So we should first of all run this on the same seed to confirm that that solved the problem. Now this is thoroughly confusing to me. What did we just do? I'm pretty sure that we changed the base size, the canyon boundary, to 3, which we did indeed do. But then why? It appears that we have an orientation which is so snaky that maybe that this entire thing is trying to come over here, and this never... Oh, you know what? I bet with that larger base size, we're not getting the lands, these snaky lands, in the proper origin anymore. So I bet if we adjusted the offset for them, maybe we moved them in by, I guess, as little as possible, 6 for now, we should put those lands on the correct side, Because it almost looks like one side isn't spawning properly, and therefore it's not fighting back anymore. And that base size is too large now, and it's just overpowering it. And it's never... Yeah, there we go. So now it's created successfully. And as you can see, we got the opening here. What the heck? I mean, it could be that the land didn't grow out from where it was supposed to grow. Let's do another generation. But the thing is we've already got a base size of 1, so you know, what are we going to do beyond that, except maybe move it in a little bit more and cross our fingers in hope that that solves the problem. So let us move it in just a little bit more. And we'll go back to tiny size, and we'll make sure that it still works on tiny size as well. Man, I wish people could be here seeing this. This is the fun part. This is the triumphant part. The part where we win. Succeed. Alright. Let's keep this seed and see if that helps us out a bit more. No, not really. So we move it in a little bit more, I guess. Okay, there we go. So it successfully goes away, and now we should get still random canyon. Yes. We just had to choose a safe offset, and we'll hope that our land is snaky enough to where if we go back down to a tiny size and we generate, that even though we've moved these land origins in closer together, that we still get this. Uh-oh. This isn't good, though. Look at that. Our canyon is closed on either end. Yeah, this is not good at all. Is this the only generation that it happens for, or could this happen many times? Oh, you know what? I bet it's that, the fact that we've got it closer together now. So maybe we move the separation up to 7 to see if that helps. So we sort of tweak and adjust everything. I don't think 7 is going to cut it. I think we need to push it out to 8. Oh my goodness. Now what? Now our neutral lands aren't there anymore. Or not our neutral lands, but our Philly lands. So this is sufficiently separated, but our lands that are supposed to fill this are not appearing. So I guess we increase this offset a little bit more, maybe to 9. Man, everything is so interconnected, isn't it? There we go. Okay. So we got our canyon back. It's working. Let's go up to the giant size and make sure that we're doing fine there. And indeed we are. Got our random canyon. Excellent. Okay, so let's not touch that. We will not touch that. I would assume that it will work for everything between. Let's just go and take a look at large. Okay, large looks good. Yeah, look at this fun stuff. We got this random snake up that way. That's fun stuff. Normal. Looks fine. Medium. Not really a guarantee, but we can't do an infinite number of generations here. Okay. So let's see. What do we want now? I think that we want a couple of things. The first thing that we want, hey, BLVCK, welcome. Thank you for sending the good vibes. I remember playing with you. I think what we want is we want to directly specify kind of a canyon that goes upward from this. And maybe we kind of have like this little, almost this diagonal line, if you will, a line from here up to here, and it slowly gains an elevation. I think that's, and I don't really want to call it a canyon. It's more of a slope. And we will, of course, put the player lands in here as well. And the player lands will grow around the slope and everything like that, and that will be fine. We have to remember that player lands also may avoid this land in the center here. So let's... I'm trying to think. We're going to have to use probably the function to points here. And we're probably going to end up putting a parabola down. And that's okay, because I'm assuming that you guys like parabolas. You guys are paying attention in high school geometry class or trigonometry class when we learned about parabolas. But one end of the parabola is going to be coming up this way, and the other end is going to be coming out this way. There is no need for it to be random. In fact, we want it to not be random. So... So we got this opening here. And we've got only 2 points for the opening. I'm wondering if we actually just lump it into our opening function and just pull it up that way. Can get rid of a lot of this stuff. Well, it certainly would be easier to do that. So I say yes. I say no, we're not going to do that. We're not going to do it. Sorry, Black. I know you're disappointed. But we should do another section now. Section on shortcut. I think we can process them, though. Yeah, well, all right. Section on the shortcuts. So let's just see if we can get a basic line going, as I remember how to use this thing. So we'll unsuppress our function here, and shct for shortcut. And remember that we want these shortcuts. They're going to be a shortcut into the central part of the opening area, but it's going to be blocked by some obstacle. Like there will probably be, I'm thinking stone mines there. And you have to mine the stone out in order to have the shortcut into the relics. Otherwise, you got to go all the way down along this canyon. And that could be fun too. But that's what you got to do. Okay, so we're going to center this at 50-50. I wish I remembered what this was, how to use this. So the function, okay, theta is the angle. So that should be 0 for now. So let's center this function on something like, I don't know, 75-50. Just because I don't want it in the middle interfering with stuff. And we'll give it a range. So it's F, D, and then R, and then it has additional inputs. Okay. So all right, so the domain is going to go from -50 to 50, let's say for now. And the range is going to go from -100 to 100. Actually, no. The range is going to be set to 0 and 0 because we do not want it. This works the opposite way from linspace. It's kind of confusing. We do not want it expanding. We're just going to draw ourselves a line here. And then we're going to give spacing in the X and spacing in the Y. And we need to specify this as a matrix. So if I'm looking at this correctly, so SX min, SX max, SY, so X, X spacing is the first. So if we're going from -50 to 50 and we give X spacings of 10 and 10 and then Y spacings of 1 and 1, that should be good to go. We haven't specified any growth factor. We don't want it to grow. Let's just see if we can get shortcut to show up. And so now we should be able to landscribe this. And this is going to be shortcut X, and this is going to be shortcut Y. And then we're going to say that SHCT X, or CT, with the X field is going to be equal to whatever this was. And we're going to do the same thing for Y. I'm going to copy this, and it's going to be, we're going to call LM SHCT, or SHCT for shortcut, SHCT for shortcut, and LM SHCT. Okay. So we should just have a random line that we're drawing. Just want to make sure that the code compiles. It looks like it added 6 points. We were at 85. It added 6 more lands. And this I think that that's too little. I think it should have added more. We're going from negative 50 to 50, and the spacings are in increments of 10. But let's humor it. We'll see what it came up with. Okay, problem. We did not say that we wanted shortcut to have number of tiles equal to 0. So therefore, it filled up the entire map. .nt, and we're going to set that equal to 0. Okay. So now the lands will not be allowed to grow. And we'll actually see where the points are, instead of just having them take up some amorphous filling of the entire shape. You can actually see how it sort of pushed these lands out as well. Okay, I don't see shortcut anywhere. Let's double check our work. It supposedly generated it, because we were at 85 and we went up to 91 lands now that we have. So we specified that we want this to be centered at 75, 50. Yeah, so that's right. And we want it to go minus 50 and positive 50. From that, we wanted to have no rotation. So maybe what we needed to do is we needed to rotate it so that it could sort of form that vertical line. Let's see what SHCT-X even is. So we've got all these X values. And what about SHCT-Y? All these Y values. So it should, even without that rotation, it should still be rendering these. What's interesting, though, is it's not really centered at 50. It's centered at 75 for X. So I think we do rotate it 90 degrees. And let's just try that again, just because I have a feeling 90-degree rotation is what we want. Okay, so it's all set. Sorry, was just thinking. Still does not show up. SHCT. Shoot. We ordered the whole thing. X. So in this case, its X values are perpetually 75, which actually is what I'm looking for. Looking for them to all have. And then now let's do SHCT-Y. And they should have different values of Y, which they do. And they go from 0 to 100. So that should be showing up. SHCT.vs base size should be 2 by default. No, it is for some reason 0 by default. So I'm wondering if that's what we need to do. SHCT.base size, and we'll set that equal to 2. This is going to be our new grass terrain, and this is how we're going to see what is happening. I'm pretty sure that the default base size was 2. So I'm not really sure what happened with that. Maybe something changed? I don't know. Okay, there we go. This is what we want. We want this array of lands showing up. So that's good stuff right there. This is what we need. This is what we want. So we are happy in that regard. Now we can start modifying this so that we get the stepping stairs that we want. So if we... Let's give ourselves a little bit more precision to work with on this. Let us say that our sizing is in fact 5 instead of 10. And let us say that we are working with a parabola, 0.01 x dot squared. It's still centered at that point, 7550. But let's see if we can induce an upward curvature of that array, which we should be able to do just fine. You can see that we've added significantly more lands to it. And, okay, well, kind of. We are curving down. We wish to curve up. Well, that is no problem at all. So we will simply negate this. We'll put a negative sign in front. And we will also restrict the boundaries at this point, I think. We can get away with that. Maybe negative 25 to 25. And now we'll run. Okay. So we got ourselves a little smiley face here. And that's all right. It's okay. It's all well and good. I would like it to be a little bit sharper. So let us increase the slope of that maybe to 2. And run it again. You know, whenever I interview for jobs and stuff, they think that I haven't actually been thinking technically this whole time. I've just been staying home playing video games like a loser. I do more math than the average engineer does doing this, which is kind of ironic, considering that they get paid a lot of money and I get paid nothing. Okay, so we got ourselves a nice little upward arch here. Give it a little bit more, I think. We're really going to want, I think, denser points toward the ends. Let's give it a little bit more curvature. Maybe 2.5. And we're gonna start pulling it toward the center here. But I also do think that I want to, we really could almost just replace this clearing with this smiley face, if you will. I'm sort of looking at it. Let's see if we can dive in here and figure out what we're doing. So maybe we go from 5 to 10. And maybe we add another argument here now. Since we're specifying that we want a growth of sorts, we need to specify a growth percent, a vector structure, grx, gry, percentage growth rates, transition from the maximum spacing to the minimum. So let us put maybe maybe 2% for now. And also, we will need to specify a behavior. A resolution, right. No, right here, behavior. Behavior. So we want the minimum sizing is applied to the outside. So we want to apply the maximum sizing to the center. So therefore we want edge. EDGE, edge, just like this. I think that needs to be in a cell. Alright, let's give this a try. And see if we can... I mean, we might not have enough space to realize our full potential here. So it looks like it didn't really add that many lands. So we're going to need to decrease the minimum spacing. Maybe we go from 10 to 1. And let's see if we can coax some more lands out of it. We might have to increase the growth factor. Okay. So we should get more bias toward the outside edges. We get nothing. So let us try and decrease this to maybe 8. And then we're going to perhaps change this to like -30 and 30. And now maybe we increase the growth percentage to 4%. And we try again. Remember, we're just trying to bias these points so that they are more finely spaced or more narrowly spaced toward the edges. Okay, I think we're starting to make progress there, but it's hard to say. Let's decrease the spacing a little bit more. We'll also decrease the base size to 1, and we'll decrease the spacing from the maximum sizing from 1 to 4, and we'll run again. A lot of this stuff is guess and check because you're never going to have time to like calculate everything out in advance, because even if you do, stuff is going to change, and so it's sort of a waste of time. Alright, it does seem to get a little bit more tight here and here. Let's maybe increase the growth now 10%. And maybe we increase this to 8 again to see if we can come at it from the other direction. Yeah, I mean, we're getting there. This is more narrowly spaced than this is. I think that we need to increase the growth factor even more, but the growth factor is very powerful. So we have to be careful. Aha! We are definitely making progress. This is good. This is very good, actually. I think this might be a little bit tall, actually. Let's start moving it down. In fact, let's get rid of the opening. Let's comment that whole thing out. Because I think we're going to use the shortcut in its place. Decrease this to 0.25, from 0.25 to 0.2, and we'll change this to 50/50 here. So you just gotta, it's a very, very powerful tool. We just gotta remember how it works, which is not easy sometimes. Oh, shoot, yeah, we don't need to scribe that anymore because we're not generating that structure. So we'll hit run. Okay. Good. I think it's a little far. It goes a little far, but it's a step in the right direction. So we will. Our minimum size is 1. I mean, we can't really get much smaller than that. So let's go to 30, and now let's 30%, and now let's go from maybe -20 to 20. And we should confirm that we've kind of scrunched everything a little bit closer to the center now. The growth rate is a little bit higher. I would love for some more points here. Maybe I really just need to bite the bullet and let the maximum size be. But I'll just keep dialing the growth rate to see if that does it for me. Ultimately, we're going to make these lands here in the center grow, and we can actually push them out from the center a little bit. I think maybe we push them up to 60. Okay, and let's bump this up to 50 and see what happens. See if it. In theory, this should allow us to reach our minimum size faster. And so we should have more lands, but I don't know that we will. I just don't know that it's really responding that well. Oh, I think that's too large. That's too far. So we need to come back to 55, and we need to decrease this to 4. We'll hit go here. I really should improve this. It's pretty basic. Yeah, see, look at that. It's like not even real anymore. It's not even real anymore. Alright, let's try 6. I think this is just about as good as I can get it. So now we're going to actually start making this look like a real canyon type thing. So we need to recognize how long SHCTX is. We need to, we got base size here, we got number of tiles, and I'm trying to think if there's a good way besides error functions, but I don't really think that there, I think we're just going to go without it. So we're going to make this one in the middle really big, basically. We're going to make this one land pretty fat. And maybe these 2 lands also. And then these other ones are just going to be kind of stepping stones that lead down to it. So the first thing that we're going to play with is actually the elevation. So we're going to say that base size, number of tiles, and actually this I don't think we want to scale up according to map size. We may wish to make the base size a little bit larger, but our primary function for now, SHCT, is to increase the elevation, so base elevation. And for this one, let's make sure that we understand SHCTY. So these should be given in columns. Yes, they are. And how many of them are there ultimately? Length of SHCTY. It's giving us 15. So SHCT BE, base elevation, yeah, I really think that we should adapt some kind of Gaussian curve to this, because we want it to be 0 in the middle, and we want it to be 3 everywhere else. So I think that we N SHCT, and we're going to say that that's going to be equal to the length of this. We're just going to go along by the number of points. And we can maybe copy a lot of this logic up here. For this, we're going to change all the names of everything and such. And we're going to say maybe PT mean, maybe, or SH CT PT mid, the middle points. And that's going to equal the mean, not the mean, but that's going to equal n of SHCT divided by 2. And we're going to want to round that. So I guess if it's 15 and you divide it by 2, you're going to get 7.5. No. Yeah. You're going to get 7.5, and then you round it, and you're going to be at 8, I guess. So I guess that's good. That's good. It'll be fine. All right, so SHCT point mid, and that's what we're going to want to put here. Right there, just like that. And then this is going to be I. And then the total span is going to be and SHCT minus 1, I guess. Minus 1. We've got that good old 15% maturation on us. And I'm kind of really curious how this is going to even play out here. And then we got the range. I don't even... We're going to do like 3, I guess. Experimental points, I guess is what we call it. But it's not going to be quite like that. It's actually going to be a for loop. It's going to be I equals 1 to n SHCT. It's going to be end. And it's basically going to be SHCT dot base elevation. Except this has the elevation being the maximum here. And we want this to be an I, comma 1. So we're going to have 3 times, it's going to be 1 minus this. And I honestly am not sure what's going to happen. I hope that this is going to give some kind of weird, cool function. Let's see. It's acting on a structure. That's what I was afraid of. Invalid structure assignment. So so we could do maybe this. Or we could just, we could do like IDX is equal to this, just like that. Oops. So we got all these points from 1 to 15, and then we don't need the loop anymore, and we can do IDX here. So then we can try to generate a set of numbers here and hopefully succeed. Aha! shct.be. Should be able to find it. Should be one of the fields. All right. So that looks pretty good. We had the effect that we were looking for, almost 3, pretty much 3 at the ends and then 0 in the middle. Only problem is that it needs to be rotated. So now, and potentially rounded, but I think that the processor automatically rounds it. All right. There we go. So it looks good. Let's run it and see what happens here. We should have these assigned at different elevations now. Okay, good. So as you can see, the elevation is increasing as we move out from the center. So these 3 right here, they are going to be forming our little pocket in the middle. And then I think we'll actually put maybe the player lands on, maybe we'll elevate it to 4. And then we'll put the player lands up at 4 around this, and we'll put this canyon, we'll elevate this up to 4. But I think that looks pretty good so far. I wish, we still probably could decrease the spacing here, and we could decrease the span slightly. But we could use a similar approach for, where is it? We could use a similar approach for the number of tiles. Okay, so here it is, the base elevation we are doing here. And it's sort of measuring whatever it got for this to make sure that everything is the same size. Just good stuff. We did end up using the midpoint here. We got this S. What is our S value? It's 15%. All right, we might want to change that around. So we're gonna set it to 15% for this, but each one of these is gonna have their own amplitude and their own sort of convergence value, this sort of variance value. This is meant for statistics. It's not meant to be used like this, but we're using it this way anyway, because I can. So we did have initially number of tiles set equal to 0. I think we're going to try coaxing this into a slightly more confined space, but really not by much. Because we want this, I think we want this clearing to be a little bit smaller. If it fills up this entire space, I don't know that I necessarily want that. And we actually could maybe twist it a little bit more upward. So we'll change this back to 25. And we'll do one thing at a time. So we'll change that to 0.025, and we'll confirm that it curves upward a little bit better than it used to. So we keep this seed, we should see that the parabola will try to close slightly. Yeah, so it curves upward a little bit more. And we could try to move it down a little bit. I mean, we've got it at 55 right now. Let's just set it back to 50. We'll make some adjustments here. This moves our smiley face down. I do like the idea of kind of a dramatic wide opening here. We've maybe got a few too many points up this way. It's a 52. And now let's go and do the number of tiles. So the number of tiles was 0. But we're actually going to get rid of the 1 minus first of all. Because we want the number of tiles to be maximum in the center. And let's do maybe 30 tiles for now. And we should set a clumping factor as well to help it clump up and form more circular lands, especially since these are a bit smaller. But we could also adjust the base size in this way, in the same way that we're adjusting. Oh shoot, we overrid the. We're trying to do a base elevation of 30 here. That's not going to work. So I'll tell you what. Let's go up to 60. Oh, maybe that's too much. Let's go up to 40, and let's duplicate this. And we're actually going to say that our base size, maybe we go up to 4 overall. And so we can get rid of that. But, yeah, let's bring this down here. And we're gonna do the size scaling here. So we do not want to scale anything for now. Going to let it be the same size regardless of how big the map is. Of course, these will all have different base sizes and the number of tiles and the base elevation. Yeah, look at that. It's even kind of spilling out a little bit, and it's creating this little pit here. Because these ones are too big. So we need to increase the sharpness of this base size, if you will. And so we're going to keep this seed. And maybe we increase this to like 0.25. So it gets to where it's going. Actually, if we're dividing by a larger number, it's going to take longer to get where it's going. So this is going to have probably the opposite effect. But since we've run it, we'll try it anyway. It will probably make this worse. Yes, it does. So we got to go in the opposite direction. So maybe we go 10%. Okay. Yes, that does look better. Let's see what we actually have here in terms of what we're ordering. Well, What's the number of tiles array? Okay. So it gets up to 40. And it very quickly drops down to 0 there, which is what we want. And we can always decrease this. I think we're gonna increase the number of tiles, and we're also gonna increase the base size. But let's just check to see what the base size is first. Yeah, it says it's got the base size going down to 0, which is not what I want, actually. I want the minimum base size to be probably 1. Otherwise, these don't really, yeah, see, that's not really counting for anything anymore. So let's do +1 here, and then we'll do 3 here, so that it will be at a minimum size of 1. Let's increase this to 60. And run it again and see how we do. We could even change the terrain type if we wanted. I think that we will have to increase the sharpness of this a little bit more. Let us do that. So maybe we make it 0.05. We'll do the same for this. Oh, this is so much fun. This is going to be like a little stairway down into, well, it's not really heaven, but it's a neutral area where people are fighting over relics, so it's sort of similar. And it's going down instead of up, so it's more like the stairway into hell. Okay. Yeah, that's a little bit better. And we're going to be increasing the base size slightly too. So that'll be good. Or not base size, sorry, the number of tiles. Let's dial that up to 80. Yep, I mean, it's still, we're moving in the right direction, but I do want this clearing to be a little bit larger. So we're just going to continue on with it. Maybe, oops, 120. 120, and let's set this equal to like maybe 4. And it's centered at 52. We might have to move it. We'll see. Yeah, it really doesn't want to grow too much beyond this. But we will give it no choice. 200. Aha! There we go. So we're kind of forcing it to grow a little bit. And the good news is these are still pretty much intact. Maybe we'll increase it just a little bit more. But I think that's... Actually, we should increase the base size a bit more to make that slightly more uniform. I'm just kind of chasing it in that direction slowly and iteratively. It's not really something you can conveniently predict. Okay. Okay, let's give it a little bit more. Actually, you know, who am I kidding? This is really close. And actually, I think what we need to do is we need to concentrate this a bit more. So let's go 0.03. So we want that center land to really be the star of the show. We don't want it to be that elliptical shape that it kind of has right now. Okay. Yeah, look at that. Excellent. Very good. That's pretty much perfect. So now we're going to arrange some player lands on this. And, oh, we need to set the terrain type for this thing. We call it shortcut. I don't think we're declaring it anywhere. So we'll just... SHCT shortcut that terrain type, and we're going to call this just opening terrain. Fine. It's fine. What else? What else? What else? Let us start to look at the player lands here. And oh my goodness, yeah, these are a mess because they are left over. But we got to have them. We got to have them. We will need these. Of course, we cannot... Let's uncomment these. We can't just use traditional create player lands because who knows where it will end up putting them. Could put them anywhere. We're just, yeah, CPL is fine. Manual and appendix, and we're just going to do CPL there. CPL for create player lands. And let's... We can actually comment out a lot of this stuff. You know what? Let's do that. Let's comment this out and see if it gets a good guess at where I want things. I don't think so, though. Oh, you know what it is? It is going to fail at, now that I'm thinking about it. We'll have it at 0, angle 0. We'll set it at 30, 35. No, this is aspect ratio. So we don't even need this. We don't want that. A lot of this stuff is left over from copying and pasting shimmer pool here. So let's cut this out. Let's put this, stuff this in down here somewhere. Angular orientation. This is going to create the random arrangement of players. The base elevation is the big thing that we need to target. They have zone avoidance of 0. But the base elevation, we're going to set that equal to 3. And we'll go in and define their terrain type later. C is something. G refers to geometry. Oh, C is characteristics. So we got base elevation, base size, number of tiles. Number of tiles, we're going to set that equal to the maximum size that we can. Zone avoidance 0, delta 0. All right, so these are all the characteristics of it. And then the geometry of it, we will set, as soon as we get some of these other parameters set equal to just their medians for now. We'll have this be 180. We'll have the bias factor be 0. The eccentricity, we're not even gonna have an eccentricity, so we will get rid of this. But it is an option we could consider later. And I think we just have a big old capital R for this one, and we're going to set that equal to 30. And so this is R. We got offset, we got ADC, we got angle. And really we should call that SA now, because it's our seed angle. That's our convention for everything else. B, which is the bias factor, and then eccentricity, we're not even going to include that. It will assume that it is 0. Okay, and so that should do it for the player lands. We just want to put them down and let them grow everywhere. Aha. Yes, we have an extra parentheses. Now, we can go in and randomize it later, and we would randomize it by having different arrays of stuff. All right. Binary operator not implemented. What do we got here? We want all of these to be cells, I think. Oh. No. We need to get rid of that because it's already being put in a cell. We don't need it. We don't need to put it into another one. Okay. All right. Good. So that is all set. So now we are going to come over here and look at some things. We should confirm that we have all of these, logicals and such. So we got PTs here. This is the player terrain. We need to define this. That was unfortunately removed somehow. Defining player terrains. We'll do constant PT1, and we will define that as, I don't know. Let's define it as rock, actually, because I think it'll fit in better. All right. 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6, and then 7, and then 8. Okay. And let's see what happens. Oh no! We filled the entire thing in with rock. Oops. Well, that's not what we wanted to do. Except for maybe this region here. So probably what happened was... Oh, you know what? We should give these lands an avoidance to the entrance of the canyon here. Because what's happening is these player lands are coming in and around, they're filling everything up, and then they're going up inside of the canyon and filling that up too. So we should make sure that they don't do that. And we're going to ensure that by giving them a border avoidance. And I think that we have the ability to do that. Let me just check. I think that might be under the characteristics. Let's open this up and see. Base elevation, base size, number of tiles, zone avoidance, linear slop. And then finally, the final entry is left, right, top, bottom, border avoidance. Yes, so that is the final entry. So, it's the final entry in the characteristics. We need to give them this. And some border avoidances. So, the left border is actually the border that we want them to avoid. So we'll set that equal to maybe 10 just to try it out. So 10, 0, 0, 0. There we go. All right, and let's rerun that. And then we shouldn't have that problem. I forgot. Yeah, the player lands, they just went in and they went all the way up the canyon and filled it all in. So what do we got now? 107. Vertical dimension mismatch. Line what? So we must have not formatted this correctly. So C, it's the very last one. Left, right, top, bottom, border avoidance. Oh, yeah, it's not a common, it's not a comma, it's a semicolon. All right, sorry, let's update that. Sometimes I'm so clever I confuse even myself. Okay, excellent. So that is updated, and we should be keeping these player lands away from the canyon entrance. Aha! Yes. So as you can see, the player lands, they kind of come down here. They maybe sort of have a plan to enter the canyon, but they cannot enter the canyon. And they fill up the rest of the map here. We've got our canyon. We've got our opening, because the player lands try to fill up everything else. We could maybe make the player lands something different, just for fun. But I think the most important thing now is to just quickly, as a sanity check, target these player lands with some terrain generation operations. Let's change all instances of DLC rock, for instance, that are at elevation, whatever this is, 3. 1, 2, 3, yeah, I think. And we can turn that into something that you could actually build on, for instance. But that's the good news, is that it worked. And we're by no means are we done with the land generation, but let us just kind of clarify where our player lands are actually being spawned, just because I want to show it, and we're going to have to do it later anyway. So we're going to create terrain, yes, terrain. And let's go like dirt or whatever. And the base terrain is going to be, yes, Canter. And we're going to have land percent 100. And, oops. Number of clumps, lots, the theoretical maximum actually. And then we're going to do height limits 3 to 3. So we're going to turn 100% of this rock terrain into dirt in the height limits of 3 to 3. And so let's just, we could do multiple seeds as well. It's fine. Let's see, what do we got? Oh no. Really? So it looks like in this case, our canyon failed to spawn properly. That is fascinating. Okay, there we go. So there's a proper canyon spawn. And this is converted into dirt. And we can actually, before then, we can and should convert the quicksand that is anything above elevation 1. We should convert that quicksand into dirt. And we will, I mean, I know I just kind of parsed right through it because I wanted to show the next step here. But maybe dirt isn't exactly the solution, because we still want to retain these different terrains over here and over here in order to place special objects on that. I'm going to be right back, though. I have to step away real quick, and then we will continue work on this. So give me about 5 minutes, guys, to take a quick break. It's been going for a little while. And when I get back, we'll clean stuff up, and we'll... Oh, I do want to show one thing before I step away, and that is if we did like objects generation, and we create object town center, we did set place, oops, set place for every player, and then find closest. We should confirm that town centers go down. What? Well, that would explain why it's not working. Hold on a second here. That should be illegal. So, hold on. I'm not stepping away just yet. Oh, I know what the problem is. We need to specify, so we'll keep this seed, but we need to specify direct placement because we, for some reason, just deleted everything up here. Alright, and then let's specify direct placement so that our town centers are placed exactly where they're supposed to be. See, this is why we go in and do all these things. We kind of set up a baseline of where the town centers are going to be. Okay, there they are. They're going to be there every single time. That's why the canyon didn't work. It wasn't because of our land not working. It was because a town center had gotten placed here and screwed with stuff. So, although it may look like the town center locations are fixed, we will add randomness to this direct placement that will push the town centers maybe further up here or further down here. And so it'll be fine. It'll be as though it were essentially random placement here. Alright, so I'll be right back, guys. Give me 5 minutes. Thank you for tuning in and sending love and checking out what I do. It really is very unique. There is nobody else in the world that makes maps like this. And I am very proud of the work that I've come a long way. Didn't used to be able to do something like this. You know, this time last 2 years ago, I would have just specified the canyon with directly placed lands and had it not be random. But I mean, to be able to come up with this randomly, to have this be random, that's some good stuff right there, and I'm very proud of that. So I'll be right back, and then we'll continue work on Petra. I am back. Thank you guys. I'm sorry for the delay. I had to go and use the restroom and refill my water and get a quick snack. And now I'm good to go. Excellent. Okay. So I think the first thing that we need to do is we need to introduce more terrain types. Because we're getting this to kind of, these openings to blend in with this, and we don't want that. So I think we will try to call it its own thing. Or actually maybe set this to something other than dirt. Maybe we make it DLC Desert Gravel. I don't know. Alright. What is that? It's opening terrain. Yeah, the opening terrain is called DLC Desert Gravel. Or right now it's dirt. Let's call it DLC Desert Gravel. And where are we? We need to go down this way more. Here we go, 102. Save that. Okay, so this is a little bit better, but we need it to be able to kind of stand up on its own against this, and right now it is getting overpowered. So I think what we do is we bump up the base size so that it does not get overpowered so easily. So let us increase the base size for that, and we'll just increase the base size for everything. Maybe increase it to... Oops. We want to increase the minimum base size, so we'll change this to 2. And it'll increase the base size of the biggest land, but that's okay. We can always adjust that. We got both of those levers in our hands. But I think it could be good for it. Okay. And almost sort of troubling, this is also getting stretched upward, but I guess we'll have plenty of blocking objects in there that it won't be too big of a deal. So as you can see, this is definitely improving. I actually think we want it to be an elevation less than that. But I think I actually like this elevation, so I think the solution is for everything else to be higher elevation. So we'll create elevation 5, I think. And we'll leave this alone. So let's target the elevation next. The base size might have to increase by 1 more, but we'll see. So the player terrains... base elevation, oh, I'm sorry, we'll increase this to 4, not 5. And I think that will be good. That's the only place where we're really, in the lands, really specifying it. Okay, and now we create elevation 4 on the canyon terrain so that it rises up to meet the player land terrain. Oh no! Oops. We need to adjust the terrains. We Need to convert that to dirt, and height limits 4. There we go. So that will fix it. Okay. So it's still, I think these wings are still coming out a little bit far. If we look at it all and, and all from one point of view, now that we've got the entire thing we can look at. Let's do a few more random generations. This canyon looks disturbingly straight this time. There we go, that's better. Okay. Yeah, it looks too long. So let's shorten the length of that. To do that, we have to come up here and we target maybe minus 14 to 14. We'll run it. This will give us a different set of points, but our equation should be adapted to that, with exception of this sort of variance value. Yeah, that's more appropriately sized, I think, but it doesn't look like it's growing the way that it should anymore. Maybe we bump that up to 240. Well, how many of these points are we dealing with? It's like we're dealing with like 6 of them. Seven. We're dealing with 7 points. So does it really make sense to go through all these mathematical rigors on account of 7 points? Let's look at the base elevation. So it's basically 3, 3, 1. Maybe we just go in and specify them manually at this point. I'd like to have a 2 in there, for instance, instead of just 2 that are at 3. But again, we can adjust this perhaps for it. Let's look at base size. So it's basically all 2 until it suddenly jumps to 7. And then let's look at number of tiles. Not New York. Number of tiles. Yeah, so it's essentially 0 until it gets to 240. And even then, it looks kind of square. Like it might not be enough. The other lands could be blocking it in some way. Alright, well, let's see if we can adjust the base elevation challenge. Copy this. think that that might make it worse, but we'll see. I think we might want to go in the opposite direction for this one because we've got sort of a complementary Gaussian curve. It's the opposite of the Gaussian curve. And it should be done. Yes, we wanted to go in the opposite direction. Pulling everything up too fast. All right, let's go 25. Three, 2, 1, 0. All right, excellent. Yeah, but still, this is, it's just spilling over. These are getting overrun. These adjacent ones. So maybe we actually increase. Let's see what the what's the base size? What base size are we dealing with? So it's basically it goes between 7 and 2, and it'd be nice if we could get a little bit more of an adjustment there. So maybe we increase this. Maybe we increase both of these to 0.1. We kind of start to go up again because we have fewer of them, so we need to be distributed a little bit more evenly. All right. So let's take a look at the base elevations. Let's take a look at the base sizes. I mean, I don't know. Maybe I'm wasting my time here. Because if we're just going to go in and custom adjust the variances, we might as well just set the array, you know? Number of tiles, 1 here. That's funny. All right. Let's see what this does, and if we have to make more adjustments, we'll just... Okay, that is better. That is much better, actually. Yeah. I wish that our spacing were a bit more. This area just feels too small here. But of course, if we try to increase this, we go up 4, maybe we make that 10, do we still get 7 points? Just kind of killing myself here. Maybe it would have been over a long time ago if I just specified the points that I wanted. But I wanted something adaptive. According to this, there's fewer points. There they are. Different elevations, different sizes. How many of these do we have? So now we only have 5 points. As the maximum size is larger. Alright, let's go back and just leave as it is. We'll go in and we'll manually change these. So we'll comment that out. And this is going to be what, 7? Even if it's not perfect, it can still sort of interpolate. So if we've got 7 points, the base elevation, and we want it to go up to a maximum of 3, oops, we could say something like this. We could say 3, 2, 1, 0, 1, 2, and 3. And it would do it. And even if it weren't exactly 7, it would still try to interpolate. And so this is going to be base size now. This is going to be 2, 2, or maybe 2, 3, 4, 5, 4, 3, and 2. And then the final one is going to be number of tiles. And this one's more abrupt. 0, 0, maybe 40, 120, 40, 0, and 0. Maybe we just specify it all directly. Save ourselves trouble. It's all set. Yep. We need to increase the size of the one in the middle, which we can do. 240. We make this 80. And make that 80. We'll run it again. It's better. We go maybe 6, 3, 2, 2. Maybe we go like 320 here. I think that these other ones are not far enough away. The next two are not far enough away as far as they should be. And that's an XY problem. I mean, we can make it seem less severe by pushing them away. But, yeah, look at that. It's just fighting us. It just does not want to do it. This shortcut plan has been sort of a disaster. As much as I hate to admit it. Trying to get this to be reliable and pretty. It doesn't even hit for this one. All right, well, what would happen if we just got rid of this shortcut entirely? For now. Just to see what the opening would look like by itself. I'm curious. Does it still respect the opening? All right. Get rid of that. Not really. It will try to elevate that land as well. So we need to make that land bigger. Or maybe we need to give that land like an other zone avoidance distance. Just to experiment and see if maybe these player lands are sort of messing with it a little bit. But I fear that if we give this an other zone avoidance distance, that it won't work right. But let's try it. Open OZA, other zone avoidance distance, and we'll give that an avoidance distance of 4. It does not appear to make a difference. Because we have not given it its own zone number. No matter. Let's try just bumping this up. Maybe we give this a base size of 8 and number of tiles like 640. And we try to go at it from that approach of just, we're going to make it bigger and harder to mess with. Oh, we never got rid of OZA. Oh well. We saw that it's not really making a difference. Oh, we should put down a clumping factor too. We'll keep this seed. And let's come in here. We have no terrain type, but we might as well, it's just as well that we don't. Open.cf, and I think we want to set that equal to 25. And that should make a big difference. We really want to get this clearing to work out pretty well for the monument. And I'd like to give it a nice little set of stairs coming down on either side. So I think this clumping factor does help. But a larger base size will help more. Let's do a few more random gens. You know, it's not terrible. We should also push it further away from the canyon mouth. Where is it? Oh, it's at 50, actually. Alright, we'll set it at 54, and we'll set this equal to 10. And then in terrains, we'll go into that sloped area, and we'll target whatever our opening terrain is. And we'll just convert that to our canyon wall terrain, no problem. No questions asked. But we should not, we should try not to get too much of this in here. But that's better. It's better size for an opening. Yep. So I like this. The big thing is we're trying to introduce these other lands, and maybe trying to fit another land in line with this like the dimensions for this are just getting large enough to where it's not practical to have it in its, you know, in the same set of lands. So maybe we need both groups after all. But I think this is just about right. Yeah. I mean, the big thing is to specify borders as well, to ensure that it cannot grow too big in one direction, just to make it even more even. And the other thing I want to is, this is all going to be unwallable down here, and that is a good thing. But I would also like it to be somewhat unwallable up here as well. So I think we'll put maybe a strip of land up this way. Another highland perhaps that's unwallable. So if you have your army over here to secure the mouth of this entrance, then maybe it's it's a disadvantage because somebody can come around and sneak attack you from this other side. I don't want players to get comfortable just walling this off and then fighting over this one choke point. So let's get a window going for this first of all. And for the window, clumping factor did help, base size did help. We're going to have opening.v, and we're just going to set that equal to, let's make it 5 for now. Obviously it's not going to be 5, but I just want to confirm that it's working and doing something first. So this window basically means this land is now going to be constrained by a set of borders that have a difference of 5, so that it's allowed to grow within a window that's 5% by 5% of the overall dimensions of the map. And so now when we hit generate, it should be restricted within that, and it'll look like a box. Yeah, so there it is. So now we just need to confirm that this box is approximately the size that we want, and then we need to relax the borders just a little bit and kind of let it grow outside a little bit to make it look organic, but not enough to be unfair or something that we can't plan for later. So now we're going to open up this box maybe to 7. And we don't want to overdo it. Just want to be ever so slight. Nope. Need a little bit more. Maybe 10. Nope, still not enough. Alright, let's go by 20 and let's go by 40 and let's just make sure that this parameter isn't killing it somehow. I don't think that it should be. I think this is pretty well tested, but I want to see the other side of things. Okay, so there it is. So we do know that it will do its thing. We just need to find what its thing is. We need to find the right number. So let's go to 20 and let's confirm maybe it doesn't look like a box. Hey, that is actually looking really good. That might, I think this is it. Yeah, this is probably it right here. I think that's sort of the perfect number actually. It's like a good little pit, good little basin in here. Yeah, I like that. So we can take another crack at these We might have to adjust the number of tiles a little bit because our shortcuts or passageways are going to technically limit the number of tiles that are available, which means that the number of tiles that we're requesting are going to get spilled out into somewhere else. But we will cross that bridge when we come to it. Okay, so I wanted to do some fancy parabola with this shortcut technique, but it did not work out. We could specify a terrain for this, but we are not going to yet. We just got to get the features, the overall features for this map right. And that's what I'm super excited for. I mean, already, like, having a canyon like this is groundbreaking. Nobody in RMS has done this before, to my knowledge. It's going to be totally original. Alright, so the shortcut. Shortcut terrain. Yeah, that's good. Do we want to use the points like this? I guess we could have a simpler point system. So I say yes. We'll unsuppress this. Then we will put LM SHCT here. And I don't know how many of them we're going to have. Let's uncomment this. And let's start adding values. So we've rotated it 90. We're going to have it go from -14 to 0. We're going to center it at 7550 again, just to get it sort of where we want it. And we are not going to have any kind of bias factor or anything like that, so let's get rid of this. We have to put a spacing in here, so we will. We'll put 2 and 2 maybe for now. And let's just see if this just gets us something. Okay. Oh no! What have I done? Ah, right. Number of tiles. It's too many. That gets me every time. Alright, so shct.nt is equal to 0. And let's set the base size equal to 2. There we go. Okay, so there's something here. Where did that come from? I'm not really sure. Did we not... So it should be centered at 7550. So that should be right. I honestly don't know why it's there. It should not be there. It should be over here. Yeah, that's bizarre. Alright, let's try pushing it further away until we understand what's going on. There we go, 90, 50. And we'll go from negative 14 to positive 14. My plan is to basically make two of them in a V shape that go inward. And we'll try to keep it simpler. Oh my goodness, what is this? Oh, right, that is the span in the Y direction. We do not want to change that at all. Okay, here we go. So, first thing is first, we need to get rid of the parabola. That's step number one. So, we tried the parabola, it didn't work so well. It was unfortunate. Ah, yes, okay. So let's change that. 0 times that. Alright, and then step number two, we change this from negative 14 to 0. Or from 14 to 0, because we're just going to do 1/2 of it in this case. We're going to try to adjust the center in that way. Okay, it's done. Let's see. So there should be something out here. Interesting. It gets called closer to the center. Alright, well, what if we don't rotate it at all? Or what if we rotate it 45 degrees? That's really ultimately what we want. We want a 45-degree line. Okay, so it, what does it come up with this time? Something like this, okay? I can do that. It's about the right length, too. Maybe a little bit long. So maybe we change this to 12, and then we change these to 4s. Really, we kind of want a linear arrangement of points, but I don't trust this thing to rotate them that well. Maybe I should. And let's do something with the base elevation now. Well, first of all, let's see how many points it gives us. And really, honestly, if it gives us too many points, then we're just gonna... If it doesn't give us 3 points here, then I'm gonna be pretty lost. It looks like it did give us 3 points. SHCTX is probably a 3x3 something. Yes. Oh, but they're not a number. What? It failed? It failed. So wait a second. What happens if I hit generate? Nothing. Probably gets confused. Yeah, it doesn't even generate them. This damn function is so... Ugh. I hate this thing. Alright. This is the most worthless thing. It is so hard to work with. Alright, let's comment this out. Even though I wrote it. It's like there's always this one function. It's just a huge pain in the rear whenever you're coding. And everybody knows what it is. And everybody hates working with it. Alright. Let me think. I should have a rotate type command that we can use, and I think I can make a line easily enough. So let's do something like this. L is equal to linspace from 0 to 10. And let's give it 11 points. It's fine. Actually, we don't even have to do that. We just say L equals 0 to 10. Just like that. Okay. And then we'll add 50 there. Oops. And then we will say that those are the x values. So we will say that that is equal to x. And x is going from 50 to 60, essentially. And then we'll say that y is just simply equal to 50 in and of itself. So this should draw a vertical line on this map, like the canyon, but completely straight. It's got 10 points there, or 11 points, whatever it is. And this should just draw a vertical line up from here. Okay, so here is our vertical line. So right, because it's going from 50 to 60 or whatever. So I need to give it more. I need to go for like 70. Yeah, there we go. Look at that. Okay, let's add to it here. Let's give it step size of maybe 2 instead of 1. And its base size is 2 already. Its number of tiles is 0. But let us give it a base elevation. Well, let's paste that in there. Base elevation that goes from 0, 0, 1, 1, 2, 2, and what is it? It's, well, I mean, overall it's only going to be 5, so 0, 1, 2, 3. And so maybe we do these 2 are 0, so that's 5 there. Alright, so we should note this change in elevation now. But we don't get it. Why is that? We've given it length. I guess we go to the code. Wait a second. Alright, so SHCT is open terrain. Number of tiles. It's being given land position, but it's not being given an elevation. What? So this right here, this is our crazy land. And then where is our... Where's our big neutral land in the middle? I don't see that either. Could be any one of these, I guess. I feel like it should be writing something. Ah, okay. Here it is. So this is our grass terrain. So it writes that. This open ter, it does not write a base elevation for it. Why not? shct.be base elevation. It's like it just... Wait a second. Should not be... Should not be a matrix like that. That is bizarre. Let's get rid of that then. So it was trying to do something two-dimensionally, I think. All right, let's confirm. Aha! It's hard to tell what it's doing, but it is doing something. Let's increase this 0, 3, and 3. So now we're just going to go 0, 1, and 2. This is all that we're going to have here. We're not going to go up to 3. Or we could just go... Actually, it would probably be better to go 1, 2, and then 3. And we'll try to get this passageway at the very top, and then we'll adjust it. It's all done. I can't tell if it's going up or down. It's... Okay, so let's go maybe 5 up to 15. We need them to be sufficiently separated so I can see what it's doing. They're all clumped very tightly together. So highest. And we're going to have to change the base sizes because I think that the base sizes are getting overwhelmed by these player lands. So we'll go up in base size by 1 for every single one of these as well. So let's see. We need 4, 3, and 2. Changing the base size depending on the elevation. And it should keep up. All right. Aha! Yes. Good. Very good. So this isn't supposed to be here. It's supposed to be over here. Sticking out of this like antennae. But it's a good start. What did I order? I ordered... Oh! I ordered base elevations of 1, 2, and 3. Let's go 0, 1, and 2 now. But we only have... L is only 3 long, I believe. No, it's 4 long. Okay? Then in that case... we can do this. And that should make the interpolation a little bit more straightforward. So we were only giving it 3 points to work with, even though it had 4, so it had to like round and stuff in between. Now it doesn't have to. I think base size of 1 might be too small. Yes, that is too small. So we need to bump all those base sizes up by 1, but we can certainly do that. Let's do... actually, we really could do just 3 to 0. 3 minus 1, 0, just like that. And then we could do like plus 2. And that should increment them properly, as well as assure a minimum size that we're looking for. Yeah! All right. Now that's what I'm talking about. I think we want this to happen more abruptly, though. I don't think we want it to take this long to climb out. I think it should be steeper. So, for steeper, we're going to have to do like 4 and then 12. It regresses. It goes back. It's like it can't handle the steps. Unless we bumped up the base size by 1 more. I'd be willing to try that. So the minimum base size became 3. Nope, not quite. Oh, sounds like the cat wants to come in. He wants to come in and he wants to have his supper. So I better go let him in pretty soon. Yeah, he sounds like he's a miserable little cat out there. So my options are to keep this the same length. Maybe we could, I don't know, skip a step perhaps? I'd have to think about it. Okay, I'll be right back. Let me let the cat in. Okay, I'm back. Sorry about that. Cat is in and he is much happier. I suppose it's not going to really matter too much. So let's just set this back to 15 to give it its proper space. I think I messed with a few other things, so we'll have to check that. No, we messed up something else too. Maybe decrease that to 1. I can't remember how we had it. Dang. Did we do this? Little passageways leading out. I don't know. You know, it would be a lot simpler if we could somehow place one big land out here and have it grow to sort of meet these player lands. And then we just elevated the base terrain. But I don't really want to do that. Don't really want to do it that way. The other possibility is just, just leave it and just let them go down the hill, the steep hill there. That is another possible solution instead of making it hyper complicated. To just basically just put 2 more of these lands here. Let's entertain the simple land placement idea instead of trying to get this transitioning canyon. Maybe we do something really simple and we just, number of tiles is 0. That's fine. But we say that the base size is equal to 2, and we just put an X and Y position here, and we just be happy with that. Where are we? So we say maybe SHCT of X is equal to maybe, I don't know, 54. And then, oops. And then SHCT.Y is equal to, and maybe this is the one where we go like 48 and 52. And so we're just basically putting 2 lands here to kind of interrupt this big land a little bit. Kind of like a Mickey Mouse sort of shape. You know, the shape of Mickey Mouse's head. That's basically what we're kind of doing here. Let's see. Okay, so this is definitely too close. This is more like his eyes. His eyes are 2 really big pig nostrils. And we want to give it a base elevation somewhere between 2. So SHCT.BE, and we're going to set that equal to 2. And then we also need to increase this a bit, increase that to 58, and we will decrease this to maybe 47 and increase this to 53. And we'll run it again. We'll see where it puts those 2 extra lands. But we want them to look like square Mickey Mouse ears for now, but we'll give them a little bit of a number of tiles here so that they don't look square. Okay, that is moving in the right direction, but it's still not good enough. We need to bump this up. Be 64. This is 44, and let's set that equal to 56. So they're 6 apart. We keep on... Oh, yeah, there it is. There it is. We'll save that. Ah, excellent. So this is kind of where I'm getting, what I'm getting at here. It looks like they are being pulled upward by the rest of this, which is fine. We want a little bit more land, so I think we want to move them out slightly more. Maybe actually 4 more would be good. So 40 and 60. And then maybe we'll make the X slightly lower. Base size, we'll set that equal to 3. And base elevation, we'll set that equal to 1. So that they kind of represent... I think they'll look better that way. It's not really an eloquent way of stating that. It looks like it's getting overwhelmed by this other land here. I think this is getting closer. So maybe we do 36. And then this other one, we do 64. And X we set equal to 60. And then maybe we start to give them number of tiles. Maybe number of tiles like 24. Just to help them kind of not get completely overwhelmed. Simple. Simpler is better. Yes. So I have to increase the base size a little bit more. Maybe decrease X by just 1 more. But I think that's basically it right there. So X, we're going to decrease that to 58. And we're going to increase this base size to 4. We're going to increase this number of tiles to 36. We're going to see how that looks. Yeah, all right. And I think we split the difference. We'll set the elevation up to 2. So the difference is split a little bit more evenly. And you know, we could provide elevation to it. We could say, for instance, you know, apply elevation up to 4, but, you know, give it a spacing of 2 or something like that. We could just see how it does with it. But I think that's just about where we want, and it's what we want. Yeah, I like that. I think this is a good start here, and we can target specifically this terrain, and we can put a number of stone tiles here, so that they have to mine through to get to it. Let's take a look and see how it is on a giant map size. This should all be the same. Oh no. Yeah, because we don't have enough. We don't have enough lands for these players. What is this right here? Player lands spilling over into that a little bit. Oh, man. Well, that's a little better. But these passageways are not, they're not going to work on this size. So basically what we would have to do is we would have to make a contingency, depending on the map size, put these at, different locations, which we absolutely could do, although I don't know if I have the will to do it now. Just because I've been screwing with this for long enough. But let us, for one thing, let's add a 0 here, I think. That will help make sure that the player lands are always big enough. And so we at least won't have this problem. We still have the canyon, and that's good. We need to make sure that it works for every map size. So we don't want to release unfinished work into the community. But we will essentially have to come up with a new position for each one of these depending on the size. I don't really know of a better way to slice that one. Let's see. Yep. There we go. That's better. Actually, what happened with this? Oh, you know what? It's somehow filling this up. I mean, the mouth of the canyon is here, but I think maybe the boundary is not large enough, or we need to give them a little bit of land growth, perhaps. Oh, man. I really don't want to make the base size larger, although I might have to. So, just a little bit more work to do, I guess. But it is coming along. We're making progress. Stuff is getting done. We've got a canyon and a clearing now. An opening, I should say. And that is not something that we had when we started this a few hours ago. So it's good progress. I'm grateful to everybody that tuned in to check it out. I'm going to end the stream here. And I am going to have some supper, and I'm going to think about the best way to make sure that this always spawns the way that we want it to. And I will get back to you when we're ready, I think, to move on to the terrain generations. You guys saw how I was going to put these in here. I will add a conditional to where these are always in the right spot regardless of the map size. It's got a different set of coordinates. And that'll be how I solve that one. And these lands are important because they're the only way, they're the only terrain that you can fit your shortcut on. That's going to have like stone on it that you have to mine out in order to get to the center. So, thank you everybody for tuning in, and hopefully